Sarah Ashley, content creator, writer, and entrepreneur based in Florida, uses her passion for storytelling to entertain, inspire, and educate. Now, this is a tough gig that you're in, so we're going to get into that. But I just want to ask you quickly, copywriting, that's legal stuff, right?
Y-
That was a little joke. How many times have you heard that?
well, many, which is why I was about to go into my spiel and explain. I was ready for that. It's like, well, not really, but
Yeah. So that, yeah, my wife is a copywriter, so I've also had to explain exactly what that is. But actually, why don't you go into a little, give me your spiel on what is a copywriter? I'd actually like to hear it.
well, whenever people approach me and they're like, "Oh, you do copywriting, you write contracts or you copyright products or names." I'm like, "Well, no, but I do something called copywriting where I write a lot of marketing related content, like the blog you read online, someone wrote that, likely a copywriter. Someone wrote the website that you're reading. When you see an ad, you click through and you get presented with all this text. Someone wrote that. Someone writes the emails that you receive in your inbox, the social media posts that you're looking at from a company. So I give them that sort of little spiel with some examples because it's just a simple way to like convey what it is. But in a broader sense, copywriting is trying to convey a point, to convey a message, and ultimately, I don't want to say sell someone on something, but to lead someone to take an action for whatever goal or purpose it is around the copy that you're reading.
Yeah, I think that's
Longer
a,
spiel.
I think that's a good description because having grown up in an advertising environment and run businesses in advertising and brand, copywriting is second nature. So if when I say copywriting, obviously I know what it means, but you kind of forget that not everyone knows that it's even a job. So let's talk about copywriting as a job because I'm sure you've been asked 100 times about how ChatGPT, Claude, and all of these bad boys are impacting you. But how how did you get into copywriting? And maybe at the end, would you have chosen it again if you knew what you knew now?
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting story because my career path was not always in the writing field. I actually started out as a computer science major in college, so I thought I was going to, be a software engineer. But after a couple of semesters of that, I realized that was not really what I enjoyed doing, and I actually hated it. But I do enjoy computers, but nonetheless, my path sort of led me into business after that. So I went into school for a business major, and writing had always been something that I was really interested in, but I didn't really know how to pursue it as a career path at that point. I'd always been really creative. I really enjoyed writing poetry and just sort of fictional prose, but I wasn't really exposed to the world of copywriting until I was probably in my college years, like sophomore, junior ish years, where I really started to understand what it was. And I realized that if I really wanted to make money writing and I wanted to make money now writing and not wait for a book to get published and sign a book deal, then copywriting was like the no brainer way to go to actually use those skills. So I started learning about it. I joined Fiverr, which is, I'm sure you've heard of it, it's a popular freelancing platform that's grown quite big now. But I joined that in college and kind of got my footing there, long story short. And yeah, I've just been learning and growing with the industry. It's definitely changed a lot now, but I really love it. And as someone who's just really passionate about writing in general, I don't think I would do anything different. I'm really happy with how that computer science to copywriting pipeline sort of tracked, planned out.
Well, I'm sure some people would have thought you went from the frying pan into the fire because both
Yeah,
those industries are extremely tough at the moment. So it's
they
probably
are.
good that you
Yeah,
didn't do the computer science side because all of that has been,
yeah.
taken over by the bots. But glad you brought up Fiverr because it reminds me of I don't know if you like music, but I like
Yeah.
Bach and I like Mozart and a lot of these classical composers. And all of them, they didn't just sit playing concerts in front of huge crowds and didn't start out with, amazing pieces. They gave lessons. They played at the local bars, the churches, and they played over and over and over and over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times before they got any good and developed their craft. And Fiverr, I suppose, helped with that in terms of having lots of little jobs, testing the
Oh, yeah.
styles, testing things, and giving you that muscle memory or that building your craft. Is that something that you think stands out?
Yeah, I very much resonate with that. And at the beginning, when I first joined Fiverr, it was definitely many little gigs. Many, like I was writing a blog post for like $10 and spending a lot of time on it, but I didn't know any better. It was like I was a baby in the industry and in even as a copywriter, you know. So it's so many small gigs. Like I've probably, I would have to look up the actual number, but I've completed like at least hundreds of gigs at this point on Fiverr. So it really just adds up. But every time, like you said, every time that you have one of those gigs, no matter what the scope or complexity or just who's involved in it, it's a point for you to practice. Like it's exercise and practice every time for you to build your craft. So definitely resonate with that. And I
My
still use Fiverr to this day too.
Well, my dad is a writer as well, and he says that writing is a craft. It's something that you need to practice at, and you chip away, and you get better, and you learn your craft. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Lots of
So
practice.
when it comes to copywriting, and I've mentioned the AI side, and I've used it a little bit for writing and helping with the podcast in terms of summarizing things. So it's very good at summarizing, but it's pretty trash at writing brand messaging. It's pretty bad at capturing a person's personality or style of writing. I found that it doesn't do this, the personality and style, and that's so important when it comes to branded content, right?
Very much so. And kind of in the same vein with you, I do use it. I find it as a great assistant for a little brainstorming task, or if I'm, you know, compiling information or just using it to help me research things. It definitely speeds up the process there. I think the tool exists now, and it would be really hard to imagine a world where it doesn't now, even though I know a lot of people have conflicting opinions about it. So I try to have a perspective of how can I use it in a way that will help me long term and not be left behind, but also still retain some of like still retain my creativity and like my like approach and thinking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm trying to use it in those ways. But yeah, I know it's very controversial.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got to use it. It's
Yeah.
I lecture in digital marketing, and every day I say to my students, you don't have to necessarily use your brains. We've got AI. Let's use that as a starting point. We've got to, the way for you to jumpstart your career or to jumpstart your business is to be able to use AI, because it's everyone is going to be using it, or everyone is using it. So if you're not using it practically in a day-to-day basis, you can be wasting time, and you're going to be missing out on a tremendous amount of opportunities. But the skill and experience obviously is what drives good quality outcomes on these AI activities. Now, you are also, I mean, we talk about copywriting, but you're also a content creator. I've had a look at your Instagram and
Oh no.
a couple of your other platforms, and you've got quite a nice style going there, and I like the content that you're creating.
Thank you.
Talk to me about how you're managing to do 10 platforms as a single as an entrepreneur, and perhaps maybe what your plan is going forward. Are you trying them out because your business obviously is growing? But maybe talk to me about the reason you're using so many platforms, which ones work best for you, and how it's not just it's not vanity in terms of having millions and millions of followers. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. My social media, I wish I had a great polished answer for that, but as anyone who's ever done social media knows, it's a bit of a juggling act for sure. I every I swear I tell myself every month that I'm going to be more consistent with posting, but
Do you know? Do you
but
know? Do you know what you like? And this is a tried cliche, but do you know the cobbler's children never has any shoes, and that's what us in agencies and copywriters have. We can create it for somebody else, no problem, because we're getting paid for it. But doing it ourselves is like, can't I
yes,
pay somebody to do this?
yes, I swear. I swear it is. It's really fun and rewarding once it's done, but it can be a little bit of a chore, especially if you're doing like personal accounts and business accounts. And then everything else you have to do on top of that, right? So, but I would say my main focus though is, even though I do have many accounts, my main focus is really TikTok. And I want to be the person who uses Instagram regularly, but right now it's really TikTok. And I'm using Snapchat a lot for like my personal content creator growth, and I have actually seen a good bit of growth there. I think it's a very underrated platform, social media platform. And in terms of business, I've been leveraging Reddit, actually, which is also a little bit of a underrated platform, but a lot of marketers are kind of like becoming wiser to the world of Reddit. So that could be an interesting discussion. But I'm also on Pinterest, but I don't use Pinterest as much as I should. Pinterest can be really great for like video growth. So pinning video pins on Pinterest can be a great option. But yeah, TikTok is really where I'm at right now. I don't know. Are you on TikTok, Instagram? How
I'm
do you
on
think?
everything.
Everything.
So
So okay, so you feel the
so
struggle for sure.
I feel it, and part of it, and this is what everyone listening to this also needs to try out. Those platforms, they don't grow overnight necessarily, and some of them work better for different types of content. So you talk about Pinterest. I love Pinterest. So in terms
Mm-hmm.
of, it's a very targeted audience. It's also a very fun, it's also a very pleasant place to be. You don't see
It
horrible
is.
pictures. You don't have people going, yeah, 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 yeah. So if you want to be in a space that is calming and you're looking for nice content, that is the space to go. TikTok, it's great for views. So I think the engagement on there, because of how the algorithm goes, you get exposed to a much larger market. But I don't think it's going to generate any cash money for me. That is purely to say, look, I've got 15,000 followers on TikTok. Look at me. Um, Instagram is obviously still the business portal. The majority of people, if you are going to, if you're a business, the likelihood of you generating a lead, it's going to be on Instagram, not on TikTok. So it's balancing them out. And obviously for you, LinkedIn should be quite a strong platform. And then you speak about Reddit, again, underutilized. Well, it's utilized by people who use Reddit really well, and it delivers good results because it's also quite text based, and people find exactly what they're looking for. So the
Mm-hmm.
problem with Reddit is that you have to be on it every day. You have to grind on there, and you have
Yeah.
to um, be very focused in on your target market. So again, these are all things that as a content creator. So you've got the experience, and you're working on these channels. And I suppose for somebody who is wanting to run um, a campaign or run their content across multiple platforms, they kind of need somebody like Sarah who is going to be able to adjust the content and where in the funnel or where in the customer journey the person is according to each of these channels, because each of them, as we've just discussed, has a different reason for being and is delivering a different kind of value. So maybe talk about, and I know you said don't just do selling, but how communication on these different channels, you can utilize um, the same message across these different channels, but you can't use the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, for example, I will create a script for myself for something. Let's say I'm creating, actually, let's back it up. Let's say I'm creating a blog post for myself, for my website. So, how I can repurpose that across different platforms is I can take out maybe like one of the juicier bits of the blog that I could spin some type of viral hook around. And that'd be great for TikTok, for virality, and for views, of course. And then I could take that same blog and cut snippets of it that make sense, sort of in like a storytelling format, and spin that for Instagram carousels to match that sort of format. Because Instagram carousels are really, I don't want to say popping off right now, but I don't know. I'm a Gen Z. My Gen Z brain is like, they're really popping off right now.
I couldn't give you anything better. I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah. So I would take that for Instagram carousels and really leverage the carousel virality that's happening. And then you could also take that same text and turn it into maybe like an infographic, or maybe something that's very visually pleasing, and turn that into one pin for Pinterest, and then also repurpose the video you posted on TikTok for Pinterest, so you could get at least two pins, probably three, out of the one blog post. As far as like a Pinterest strategy too. So there's a lot of different ways that you could like cut up one piece of content, that like one long form piece of content that you're creating, and really maximize your reach across all the different platforms, and frame it in a way that is most appealing to whatever platform you're posting it on. And if it's a YouTube video, then maybe you take the blog and you turn it into like a video script that you're, teaching to the camera and presenting in an educator style video way. Yeah.
What we haven't spoken about is the sexiest of all communications, which is email communication.
Oh yeah, email. Love email. Email.
And
I love doing. I love. I send out a monthly email newsletter. So in the email, I'm trying to figure out a way to make it, sexier, more fun, because I don't like no one likes a boring email. So what I'm doing is, for blogs specifically, I guess I'll just go with that example again. I have like a from the portal section where I'll link my blog content, and I'll have as seen on social media, and I'll put in some featured social media posts that link out like to my accounts and then to other people's accounts. If I see someone else's really like great post on social media, I'll link that in my newsletter as well, because spread the wealth. The more the merrier. People need information. So yeah, I'm definitely experimenting with different ways to spice up the email
well,
side of things.
one of the areas where people need a lot of help is on the email sequencing, or the sequence of emails. And I'm sure that's something you've done quite a lot with, and that is a pain in the backside. So that takes
Yeah,
time, and to write that, because I've done that myself. I'm like, oh no, it's so awful. And
yeah.
having somebody to be able to take that from me would be so wonderful. There's just one last platform I want to talk to you about, and I want to see whether you have considered it, or have
Okay.
done anything on it. But that is Substack.
I have a Substack, but
Okay.
not business related at all. It's purely a passion project, actually.
Okay. Well, Substack's another one, and then obviously there's podcasts. Now, what got you into podcasting? And I mean, this is now taking valuable time, billable hours out of your day. Why did you decide to join Podmatch, and why are you doing podcasts?
Podcasting or podcast guesting was never really something I was interested in until maybe a few months ago. Like, it's a very new territory for me, but I decided to give it a shot because of a few reasons. Number one, probably the most obvious one, I want to connect with more people. Like, we're having a conversation right now. I never would have known you existed, probably, unless I saw you on social media. I know, gasp, shock. I, I probably never would have known you existed unless I saw you on social media somewhere, or fate brought us together in the real world. So podcasting like we're here together. It's also great exposure for your brand and for yourself as a personal brand, as Sarah Ashley. I am able to speak about things that are, in sort of my sphere in my world and share that with other people and get my name out there and share knowledge. So those are the main ones. And then also it's great practice just speaking to people. And it's great practice formulating your ideas and, thoughts and just speaking, because speaking is also another thing you have to practice. It's also a skill, where it can be very natural, and it is, like for right now it's natural, but there's a certain level of practice that comes with it where you can, become an even greater speaker. So that's the ultimate goal too.
And you're going to be able to repurpose this content across
Yes.
multiple channels as well. So it's a
Yes.
win-win. And just a spoiler for everyone, I didn't give any questions in advance to Sarah. So
No.
everything has been off the cuff. So good job, Sarah. You
Oh.
haven't stumbled yet.
Ooh.
Now, for folks who want to get in touch with you, and because a lot of copywriting and a lot of connecting people with great partners is about a vibe fit. And who do you like? What type of client do you like working for? So that's one, and then we'll give the details of where folks can get in touch with you.
I love working with practical dreamers. So that is the type of person who has the big creativity to dream it and envision it, but also the practical side of like knowing that things need to get done, like in order for it to come to life, and there's going to be some action behind it. So a little bit of that personality. And I've worked with so many practical dreamers, and I love it. And it's just a wonderful time, like me helping bring their ideas to life, and us collaborating, and vice versa. So
That is quite rewarding. And let's see
yes.
where are we gonna send folks?
You can actually find me on social media. That'd probably be the best place, at Portal Copy Co. And my link in my bio has links to a free brand messaging guide workbook, and my website, my services, everything that you'll ever need is in that link in my bio. So
Great, and I see it's
yeah. Yes.
portalcopyco.com. So I've been to that. It's a
Yes.
very nice website. Got lots of cool things on it and free
Thank
stuff.
you.
Free
Yes.
brand messaging playbook, free page checklist, whole bunch of nice things. So I'd suggest that everyone go and check that out and see what good copywriting looks like from a proper copywriting strategist. So
Thank you.
Sarah, what a pleasure to chat to you, and thanks for a lovely conversation.
Thank you so much. It was a great time. Really happy to be on here.